Shut it down, Aldred. Hit it, Iggy. So hello and welcome to Mostly Off Topic Playing Waterdeep. We are on episode 9. We've just established that, episode 9, which is an episode behind Titles and Troubles, as it happens. There were a number of Titles and Troubles episodes that didn't get recorded. You'll note, studious viewer, that we are now up to our full player contingent, and that means that Josh has been demoted. He is now no longer poster boy. Yep. He never made it to poster man. He is fully stuck in a juvenile poster position, which sounds like something that you'd find in like some Catholic priest magazine or something.
He's now posted stamp.
But there we have it. I am joined by the Alpha Ben.
Howdy.
Who is clearly half elf, as you can tell by the accent. Who's playing Ode, and I'm also joined by, I guess, the Alpha Joe.
Sure. Hey y'all!
who again is clearly a half elf. You could tell by the accent. I'm also joined by the Alpha Martin.
Good evening.
Who is sitting up in his chair. I wonder how long it'll take before he slouches.
Yeah. Not long. Not long.
I'm joined by the Alpha Josh.
Hello.
Of previous poster boy fame. And I'm joined by Littlebeard.
Greetings.
So, yeah, great. So in the last episode, the player characters managed to escape the Blue Alley. Having recovered the Celestine unicorn, they took it back to the Black Staff, and some of them joined the Greyhounds, which is like a itty-bitty part of the of Force Grey. Some of them gave 2 fingers to authority. I don't want your authority, Alan said.
2 thumbs down.
He went and sold a carpet instead.
And I think he did, in fact, sell a carpet and use sweet. But there we have it. So, yeah, let's start, I reckon. Yeah, shall we start? So the characters are now level 4. Anybody who's paid any attention to the Dragon Heist core book will note that we're about to start. We're a bit way into chapter 2, and the characters should be level 2 at this point. What the fuck do I care? We're riffing off the contents of Dragon Heist / Undermountain, rather than studiously and religiously following the diktats in some kind of railroad exercise, which I prefer to save for the Titles and Troubles game. Normally at this point, I also go through a load of stuff about how you can get hold of us and contact us and that kind of stuff, but my voice is not gonna, it's just not gonna make it. So I'm going to skip that. Because if you're watching this, then you already know it's going to be my basic estimation. So
Did you introduce yourself?
Oh, fuck off. I'm Paul. You may remember
Don't call him
me.
Shirley.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley. You may remember me from such incidents as the 19 other times I've introduced myself on these videos.
Well, not introduce yourself on these videos.
I'll fail to introduce myself. I always introduce myself in Titles and Troubles, but never on this one. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you like the fact that I put up the whole kind of chat before when I was just recording to get the sound right. So you'll have had the whole do me an ASMR video because it amuses me. So it's spring tending to summer in Waterdeep, and the city is bustling. Zerelda particularly, I don't think you will have encountered Waterdeep as busy as this before. Your experience of Silverymoon is a lot less seasonal. Silverymoon's got a much more stable population. And I imagine that when you arrived in Waterdeep, which was probably the autumn of last year, you were kind of like, there's a lot of space. It doesn't feel that busy. It's fucking heaving now. You can't, getting a horse from one end of the city to the other is really difficult. The main through roads are kind of busy all the time. It only starts to get quiet towards the back end of the night. There's a lot of footfall traffic into the theatres and the open air performances and all that kind of stuff. And it's turning out to be a lovely spring. It's turned out and it's becoming a reasonable early summer as well. You've got a lot of flowers blossoming. There's quite a lot of red-capped mushrooms. They seem to be. No. They seem to be. Nobody's quite sure why that's the case. There are rumours that Diego Darkblade has returned to the city, and there's also rumours that could be somehow connected to the death of his mother, who died in not suspicious circumstances. Apparently, there are a number of the Waterdavian newspapers, the ones of more tabloid and kind of sensational kind of bent, will fixate on the champion of Chult and his background and his personal stories and all kinds of rumours. His wife is a lycanthrope who worships a deity of aggression and kills people in tiger form. That's one of the rumours in circulation.
Not true. It's all slander.
His, I guess technically it's libel, but anyway, I think libel's a written down one. I don't know, or that his uncle Danilo is not much more than a weir shark, changed into human form.
That would be so cool.
That is not far from the truth, I'm sure.
But as you awaken this particular spring morning to sounds of "Hear ye, hear ye, adventurers recover the Celestine unicorn from the Blue Alley. Aldred's crew, the Eltorchul heroes, have managed."
No.
have managed to outwit Mert the moneylender and returned it to Vajra the Blackstaff. Hear ye, wafts over the air as the hustle and bustle of the city kind of starts to rise amongst your ears. So where would Ignatius T dwarf be? I don't know.
So it's the next day. So we moved on from. So we wouldn't have gone back to thinking. I'd probably have headed back to the guild, or be wandering around the dwarf area doing good deeds as is my manner.
Okay,
mending stuff.
Okay.
Well, also on the lookout for any decent metal because I want to start making my armor.
There's a lot of decent metal. There's like a whole kind of second-hand LP store which has got a really good section. It's got
nice.
It's got kind of like I'm trying to think of metal bands.
Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden.
It's Iron Maiden. There's a whole ensemble out the back playing Fear of the Dark.
Nice.
Sitting. I know this isn't Fear of the Dark. It's just like there's one little dwarf going sitting in my cold cell as the clock begins to chime. That fucks my throat because I'll stop doing that. So you're doing good deeds. You're helping old women down alleys.
Yeah. It's probably more along the lines of mending stuff that's broken and trying to kind of build some relations with the dwarven community because I feel more at home with them, even though I'm a big ass human.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they remember you from work that you've done before, I think. So you've been fairly active in there, so you're welcomed in. There's a lot of discussion about kind of how the dwarves can try to outreach to some of the other communities. There's a lot of ghettoization, if that's even a word within Waterdeep. A lot of the communities kind of like stick together and a bit isolated. And the dwarves are kind of trying to learn lessons from the fall of the Silver Marches recently, where it was considered that a lack of racial cohesion kind of caused problems. So that's like the context to what you're doing. Okay, cool. And where would Ode awaken this fine morning, having been party to the recovery of the horse with a spike in its head statue?
Probably on some sort of old rotten sofa in this place on Troll Skull Alley.
Yeah.
Probably complaining about Fenn's enthusiasm. for the grey, for Force Grey.
So one of the things that you'll know is that the Black Staff asked for those people who joined Force Grey or were going to be indicted into Force Grey to find stuff out about the noble family, the Gralhunds. There's some suspicion that they are linked to or affiliated with either Zentarim or the Xanathar's guild. You know, they're at least implicated in some way in the gang warfare. That's kind of kicking off at the moment.
Mm.
But you're brought, you are kind of brought to consciousness in the ground floor, the littered, dirty, dusty, kind of like tumbled down ground floor of the Troll School manor, by the clanging of steel and the hissing of steam, which is probably coming from the armourers and steel workers. Just a little bit further, Steam and Steel is the name of it. Yeah, you hear the rhythmic bang, bang of a hammer against some metal in the anvil.
Oh, it gives me a headache.
And you start to hear the bustle of the city around you. There's lots of noise of children kind of being taken to their establishment of learning. Lots of kind of questions like, why are there trees? Why is there the ground? Oh, I know. If we didn't have the ground, we'd fall into the lava. Those kind of things.
Yeah. Yep.
One of them is saying, I feel
Anyways.
ill. I don't feel very well. I think I should stay at home. I think I'm not well enough to have the tablet, but I think I'm well enough to watch a cartoon. Which was my negotiation with Keddy yesterday as I picked him up from school and well. It's like, how about you just sit in the sofa? I'm not going to betray generations of parents to say, if you're not well enough for school, you're not well enough for fun. Fenn, whereabouts do you awaken? And with whom do you awaken?
How long is it since we got back then and been to the Black Staff?
This is
this
the
like the day
next
after?
day.
I'll probably just awake and either hungover and stay somewhere near Troll Skull Manor. I'm not necessarily in the building. I might have just staggered around and woken up somewhere nearby.
Doorstep.
You open the lid of the bin that you seem to have been slept in, and look out to hear the same ringing sounds that bring ode to his senses, and the steam, and you kind of like hazily look around. A banana skin falls off. Other Chulton fruits like a pineapple, kind of like you decide to take that, even though it's just the remnants, because apparently it's good luck and a sign of prosperity.
Worth a lot of money.
Yeah. You're not wearing your own clothes.
Yeah.
You're not quite sure where these noble socks came from.
I was going to say, I've still got my noble sock.
And you're wrapped in half a carpet, and you got blurred memories of what happened with that. And you kind of look out and you can see the bookworm's treasure, which is a charming sign of a gold dragon killed around the treasure hoard, and then you can see inside there's a load of books, far more books than you would think, and a short dragonborn, only about 5'2", of gold. Dragonborn kind of comes out and starts to put some books out. He smells in the morning. He goes, "Oh, good morning to you." He says, you kind of like peer. Your head pops up from a Waterdeep biffer bin, kind of on the corner.
Just Sesame Street.
And you kind of like get yourself out, and you realise that the carpet is ill-fitting and really it doesn't do much to kind of conceal your form. Zerelda, where do you awaken this morning?
That's a good question. The city's very busy, so I think I'll have struggled to get somewhere. So probably somewhere near where.
Well, remember you do have a share in Trollskull Manor.
Oh, that's true. Yes, I'd have probably stayed there actually, just to check out where I have acquired some ownership.
Get off my sofa.
It's a bit incongruous. There's these two kind of like looted sofas in the middle of just a ruin. It's not kind of ruin. So, would you have been knocking back the booze last night?
Not heavily. I'm a lady. I'd have had a glass of wine.
Did you just watch Ode and Fenn going heavy and then they just disappeared off into the night?
Yeah. I think I'd have watched them from a distance for a while and then decided it was getting a bit heavy and gone to bed.
Through a hole in the wall.
It was not pleasant. It was kind of like watching two hogs, kind of like in a trough of refuse. And in fact, at one point, you're fairly certain that Fenn was his head in a trough of refuse.
That's where I slept.
And it was a little bit pitiful as well, the way in which Ode was like, he only has 3 fucking strings. How does he do it with only 3 fucking strings? And then Ode got into his head that he was definitely going to go and see his idol, Diego Darkblade, and there was nothing that could stop him, and he was going to clamber over the Darkblade walls if necessary. Fenn started off trying to stop him from doing that, but then quickly turned to egging him on. And it's probably at that point that you're going to let them get off and do whatever they wanted to do. So Trollskull Manor. Trollskull Manor that is on Trollskull Alley, which is in the kind of middle class part of the city. If it's not a commercial property in Trollskull Alley, then it's kind of a substantial townhouse with servants and gardeners and stuff like that. So it's a reasonably affluent area. And Trollskull Manor is the largest and the substantial of all the properties in Trollskull Alley. It kind of dominates that kind of part of the area. At some point, Fenn will have decided that he was going to go into the local drinking place in there, which is called, I think it's called the Bear...
What was it called? I think I had it written down.
I'll let you sort that out first, but I was going to ask about money.
What about money?
How much should we get for the salvation of the statue?
We've got quite a lot.
50.
50 each, I think.
Yeah.
50 gold each.
No,
Can't find my notes.
no, can I?
Inventory.
Froon's Brews.
Yeah, that's it.
Emic Froon, that Fenn did some work for. Who Emic left more of an impression than Fenn did. And like Emic was like, "Who the fuck are you?" And whilst there's, from the outside, there's clearly work to be done, it looks substantially sound. The walls are there, the roof possibly needs a bit of work. It's more run down than it is anything else. And inside, it does not appeal to your sensibilities particularly. It used to be a tavern. And the tap room's filled with broken furniture, tarnished silverware, casks of wine that turned to vinegar. Didn't stop these two lads having a go. Another worthless detritus. The rooms are pretty much empty apart from cobwebs, dust, harmless rats, and these 2 incongruous sofas that are kind of like being slept upon. But it's it's across... 4 stories? It's got balconies. It's got a kind of tower and stuff. Okay. And again, you're woken by the clanging and the banging coming from a local armourers or weaponsmiths. Aldred, where do you awaken? And with whom?
Aldred awakens in his noble bedroom. And he awakens with a...
Socks.
Yeah, he goes to bed with his socks on. Doesn't want you lot nicking them. No, what was I going to say? Yeah, how old are the pupils at the Eltorchul Academy?
Where is this going?
Where do you think it's going?
The pupils are as old as the rest of the eyes.
Sorry, you cut out there.
The pupils are as old as the rest of the eyes. Oh, Jesus, it's hard work with you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the pupil, I am recording on, yes, I am.
Okay.
And they varies. Start around about 11, run through to maybe 16-ish, 17.
All right.
Some of the
Then it
more
probably
advanced
doesn't-
studies pupils go into their mid-20s.
So Aldred's having his way with the senior students, is it?
Yeah, well, I was gonna fit
Extra credit.
So there's a like a particular student who they like have frequent disagreements with each other on like a theory of spellcraft and like theory of different creatures and physiology, and that sometimes boils over into a bit of a sexy time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they are teenagers, so they're just contrary creatures.
Yeah, and I was thinking, this place is like a noble household.
50?
Aldred
54, I thought you said.
I thought it was 24 or 25 is what I said.
No. I think you wrote your 2s as 5s.
It's 52. Just reverse it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What, so you're in bed with a minor?
No.
A dwarven minor?
With one of the solutions. No, not a dwarf.
Oh, so you're dwarfish now. You're dwarfish now.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I actually had this conversation with Rebecca when she was thinking of rolling a dwarf, and I was like, humans can't reproduce with dwarves. That's in the canon.
Okay.
I'm sure it's not without trying.
They can't produce viable offspring with dwarves. That's what it was.
I don't know what a non-viable offspring is.
It's
I think
something
that's how the Nazis
something
started.
that can't go
Yeah,
on
it sounds very much like the thin end of a very bad wedge. So if you could
fine.
just...
I'll quickly change my alignment to lawful evil and get back to you guys, okay?
Yeah, okay, cool. Fine. So you wake up with one of your students.
Oh.
I thought that's what you were saying.
I'm not a teacher though, am I?
Well, yeah.
Oh, so that makes it all right.
It's your academy, of course you are.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Waterdeep probably doesn't have laws.
I've heard worse rumours about my lecturers, so that's fine.
She's definitely having it with your brother on the side as well, though.
Yeah, your brother is on the side. He sleeps out of his socks, for the record.
Well, he's gone on left now. That's the thing.
Yeah. I'd spell them out.
Okay,
so he awakens,
this
and
is slightly
I assume
awkward.
I've heard all this news. Yeah.
What news?
About the Eltorchul crew going into the Blue Alley.
Yeah, that's kind of like wafted its way through the open window from the streets, and given that that is known that this is Eltorchul Manor, one of the kind of like town criers is definitely trying to angle for some good tip for bigging up the Eltorchuls in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, this gets more like income and students. And I'll just be very pleased with that news. I did not expect this to happen, but
we don't disagree with the name.
It can only be good.
Yeah.
By the way, does anyone have the knock spell?
I was thinking about it, but there's just so many good spells. I'll
take it. No, I'll take invisibility.
Is this just to burst into Aldred's room at the most awkward moment?
Yeah. Invisibility and the knock spell.
Yeah.
Job done.
I was thinking more about this noble house heist.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay, so you got about a couple of weeks worth of downtime, personal downtime actions that you could take before kind of we really start to move. And we're going to focus, I think, our attention on Trollskull Alley and Trollskull Manor a little bit. I think that was the agreement. Okay, just to decide what we want to do with regards to that. Let's just play that from. Excuse me, the same way we introduced. So, Iggy, what do you want to do with your kind of 2 weeks of downtime, and whereabouts do you want to base yourself? So, in theory, you've got a room in Eltorchul Manor, or you could be starting to kind of like stay at Trollskull Manor.
I'll stay at Trollskull and do a bit of tidying up. Bit of a casting my mending around the place.
Like a fucking pigsty. It's like effectively two squatters have just moved in.
Yeah, there's 2 sofas, one of them Fenn's asleep on, and one of them Node's asleep on.
By tidying up, I didn't mean like cleaning, I meant like mending shit.
Oh, you can start with mending the sofas.
You have a mending spell. Just sit and concentrate and mend the whole building.
I can only do a foot at a time. It might take me more than 2 weeks.
And there's at least 8 feet on those sofas.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll base myself there to start.
Okay, so before we start then, so we need to decide. You guys need to decide on your cost of living. So, what cost of living do you want to maintain?
What's the one that's silvers, not golds?
Yeah.
What page is it in the book? I'm
I'm
trying to find it.
Find it. Always trying to find it.
It's always in such an awkward place in the book.
I'll have it on. I think I had it up on D&D Beyond.
I can't find it. Right, downtime activities is on 187.
I think it's in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Somewhere.
it's around there. I've looked at cost of living. I've looked at living expenses, and they're not in the index. This is what amuses me about.
Was it in Xanathar's? Or was it in...
No, it's definitely in
expenses 157 to 158 and 187. 157 to 158. 157 to 158.
Oh, yeah. 157.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at it. Yeah, okay, so lifestyle expenses. Poor, which would be living in Trollskull Manor, would be 2 silver pieces per day.
Yeah, well, how long we got? 2 weeks?
20 days, so 40 silver pieces.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that one.
I'll take the same.
Okay. Ode?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, okay.
Did we work out 40 silver is 4
4 gold.
Of the gold.
0.4 or 4? It's 10 gold to 10 silver to a gold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it'll be 4 gold. That's fine.
Yeah.
What's the next one up from that?
Like a gold a day. It gets really expensive real quick.
Yeah,
But you're
so above that, you've got modest, which is a gold a day, which would be 20 gold.
Yeah.
20 gold would be like a quarter of my total balance.
So modest, you'll be staying in a kind of reasonable inn, fairly quiet, but not lavish. You'll be able to have a bath a week. You'll be able to have a bath a day if you share it with the old bloke across the corridor.
I mean, yeah.
Dennis the Bold is well up for it. By up, I mean up.
Briefly.
I'm assuming, Aldred, that you're just going to take your background benefit.
Yeah, this is the most I've ever used my background in anything.
It's a good background.
Particularly if you're in Chult and need to kind of convey a kangaroo court, so you can turn somebody into a vampire. I hope you have that on your conscience, you bastards.
I blame Zook.
Deserved it.
I could just stay at the guild, but that doesn't cost me anything. But then effectively, I'm then working for the guild for the whole 20 days.
That's right, yeah.
The whole
Like
life.
that.
What's the name of the inn I'm staying at, please?
The Dragon's Tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
It's in Trades Ward.
During those 20 days, can I spend some time getting more of this team together?
Yeah, of course. So let's start with Iggy, and then we'll kind of cycle around everybody. So Iggy, what is it that you're intending to do?
I'm like I said, I'm looking for metal, specific metal.
Okay, there are a number of certainly the guild will be able to put you in touch with the raw metal providers, I guess.
Yeah, so I want to start looking for some mithril.
Now, mithril is an interesting thing. It's not as rare as you might think in a city of Waterdeep size. Certainly not at this time of the year where the shipments are starting to come through. So you've had the shipments have been held through the winter, so they're starting to come through now. The difficulty is that a lot of the goods have already. So it's essentially trade goods. So a lot of those goods have already been bought. They were bought kind of like last year for this year's. I want to say harvest, but clearly not.
The metal harvest.
Yeah. So mithril. Let's see. What do we have here? We have adventuring gear. That's useful to me. No, it isn't. Mounts and vehicles. Not at all useful. Trade goods. A pound of platinum costs 500 gold. So I'd put it around about the same value, I think.
I can't afford anywhere near that yet.
Yeah, you could buy an ox for 15 gold, and he comes with his whole own town and
get him
mercenaries.
To go beat up people for platinum.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So I've found out the price of it around here. Then, if I can't afford that yet, I want to start looking for some work. Then.
Yep. Okay. So, if you're going to and fro Trollskull Manor, then you will certainly be able to hang around Steam and Steel, which is the weapons, armor, and tools. It's a forge owned and operated by a married couple. There's a fire genocide called Embrick and a water genocide named Avi. They're both male genocide. They're both members of the most careful order of skilled smiths and metal forgers, and Avi is also a member of the splendid order of armourers, locksmiths, and finesmiths. Embrick is very much like his signature element, very passionate, very inflamed. He kind of like burns with some intensity, whereas Avi again is much like his element. Sorry. A bit more calm, a bit more placid, and together they form a pretty good team. But there's always work to be done, particularly for somebody as skilled as you are in the standing of Moradin.
Yeah, I would like to go talk to them to see if I can get some coinage.
Ignatius, is it? Embrick says, "Welcome, come in. I've heard this great coloured beard you've got there, a sign that the fire is with you."
Indeed. Hence my name. I was named for it.
Ah, great sign, a great sign. I've heard tell of you in the piracy, in the high seas. I mean, I've heard tell of you in the guild. What is it that you're interested in?
Work. I'd like some. I need to earn some coin. I need to start getting some resources behind me if I'm going to prove myself to the rest of the hammers and finish my great work.
Well,
start my great work.
Perhaps it's a bit basic for you, but we've got a lot of orders for the staples. Not like staples for like joining bits of paper together, but staples for stuff that's commonly used. We've got a lot of bars that need to be done for the Coopers Guild.
Hey, show me a hammer. Show me a forge, and I'll bring my hammer.
It's honest work, and he kind of claps you on the back, and you just feel the heat coming off him. Yep. Okay. And you
only for a few more levels.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, what you're trying to do the kind of earn money downtime action, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's all fine. So this will be the crafting downtime action, I think.
Cool.
Because you're in good standing, and because Embrick likes the cut of your jib, you've come with a red beard, standing in fire. They're willing to let you use their forge without fee, and won't take a cut of the monies. Partly because they just need to have the extra help for the contract that they're trying to fulfill. So every day of downtime you spend crafting, you can make items to the value of 5 gold, but you've got to spend raw materials of half that market value, so you're making 2.5 gold profit per day.
No, that's fine. I'll go with that. I'll do 15 days of that.
Yep. Okay. So you can make kind of Is there anything particular? Well, they're asking you to do basic stuff, so let's just say that you're not working each day towards the end product, but you're getting that. So 15 times 2.5 is 22.5 gold.
That'll do.
And it's a lovely place to work. Embrick and Avi are kind of opposite in quite a lot of ways. Embrick is really, when he gets into his work, you can just feel the passion coming off of him for it. He's making really fine plate armor, taking a lot of time getting the. Oh,
Yep.
okay, that's that. Taking a lot of time to get the details done. And Avi is much more laid back. He's much more chilled, and he's kind of doing some of the more basic kind of stuff, similar to what you're doing as well. And they've got a really good banter going, a really kind of good relationship. Take a great degree of interest in how you are and what you're doing. I hear that you've got a share in Troll School Manor.
Indeed, it's quite the doer-upper, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you need any of the basics done, then let us know. It'd be good to get it established. It's not a great entrance to the alley when it's as bad as it is at the moment.
Indeed, it's a work in progress. Me and my compatriots, we've got some plans for it. We hope to make it a reputable facade. Facade, I said.
So long as it doesn't become a masseur parlour.
No, just a brothel.
Oh, have some. He doesn't say. Okay, cool. What do you want to do for the other 5 days? Anything in particular?
I'd like to start looking in the guild sort of archives if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to kind of expand my knowledge a bit more outside of like what I've been taught. So just kind of awareness of other techniques and approaches to kind of metalwork and forging, and basically just kind of better myself slightly by reading for 5 days.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Start to get an idea of what my other options will be, to kind of, having realised just how expensive the metal is. And obviously that's, I really want to make my plate mithril plate, because as part of our like rite of passage, we have to produce our fine work, and our fine work is generally armour.
Yep. Yeah.
And as such, it's very much a sort of like a core want of mine to kind of progress that. So it's other ways of going about it if I can't necessarily buy it. What are my options?
Yeah, okay. So there are quite a few tomes that talk to that kind of thing. Not as many as some other disciplines. The work of the learning of the forge is typically done at the forge. So a lot of it is about in theory, and it's some of it's even obscured slightly. It's almost like it's written in a code. But you can start to kind of learn, start to kind of build that up. In 5 days, you're getting the feel for the books, and you're getting your face known and so on. You're not allowed to take any of the books outside of the guild hall at the moment.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Ode, what is your plan for 2 weeks worth of downtime?
I want to get everything set up for this heist as soon as possible, really.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 or 5, including myself. I presume this is something that we probably won't be playing through, so...
Oh, no, I think we will.
Oh, okay. Well, just a case of getting Aldred on board, really.
Well, now that so it occurs to you that perhaps if this heist was to target the Gralhunds, then that might link into a job that he thinks has already been given.
Well, in which case, then that's one thing I do need to do is find out exactly, because I don't know which house or family yet this is going up against.
Well, you get the feel that you could push the 2 chumps that you have in whatever direction that you wanted to. They've got a lot of intent, but not much execution on it so far. But roll me a D100 whilst you're going to and fro the city.
Okay. 100. get this done. Aha. Descent. Dice tower?
No. 22. 22. Okay, so you're kind of heading to and fro the city and kind of running errands and stealing socks and selling socks and so on and so forth. When you see a money pouch just lying in the gutter just outside of Troll Skull Manor, actually, you want to roll me a d6.
Winner.
A 6. Okay.
Chicken dinner.
Within it, you see you find 4 gold pieces and a note that reads, "Now we're even."
Oh.
And you it looks like there's a map on the back as well that's slightly faded. That is noted as being the directions to the Vault of Dragons.
Wow. And the message in it said, "Now we're even."
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Who was owed?
My first thought was Lord Neverember, but it doesn't seem like a movie to make, does it?
Or Volo.
Oh yeah.
He was a bit of a cheapskate.
Yeah, he was a massive cheapskate.
Who was his friend that we actually rescued in the end?
Floon.
Or Floon?
No one said it was meant for you.
Yeah.
No one said it wasn't.
You've just found a purse on the ground. Yeah,
Sorry,
the
that
note's
was,
not
that was
necessarily
for 2
for you.
doors down.
Yeah.
Awkward, can I have it back?
The map and this note, is the note on a separate piece of paper?
No, it's on the back. It's on the flip.
Okay. How do I rub that out?
You want to do what? Sorry.
Rub out the rest of the note.
You rub it out.
I try. What can I use to get rid of that?
I know, it'll be an ink, won't it? It's not like rubber and pencil.
Yeah, I know. I'll keep it for now. That's.
Okay. It looks like Joe's fondling his iron board from. Just gently
Ironing board.
caressing it there.
Any contact from the 2 boys from the Skewered Dragon?
Yeah. So you kind of head down in that direction and you kind of meet up with them. Hey, I'm all right. I think I can't remember what they talk like, but let's just say they talk like that. All right, yeah. So what's up then? Oh, what are we doing? What's the plan, boss? Since you intimidated them last time, they've got a much more deferential attitude. What's the plan, boss? Who are we hitting? When we hitting them? How hard are we hitting them?
Seems like we've got a map.
Has he got an
You
X?
know
Has
the
he got
name
an
of the
X?
house, boy.
Well, I thought you were choosing it. You're hobnobbing with nobles, aren't you?
Who's the
It's
family?
more like this. It's like this. We're just basically bush shelter rats. We don't know nothing. Listening to some cool beats.
By 3 strings as it happens.
Yeah. Totally. Well, we're thinking about the Castellantas.
Castle Lanterns?
Or the Dark Blades.
Do it.
What happens if you kill yourself in this town?
Or we could do the Hawk Winters.
Which was the lady at this point?
And at this point, Milady
It's not
is transitioning. She's in a transitionary stage between the Hawk Winters and a certain. He's just like Diego, but a bit older. Fox in the box, Lord Darkblade. I think that Joe might have died. I think he's been paralysed.
He's on move.
This is a very comfy chair. Is the look that I'm getting from him?
Can you not hear me?
Cheer that,
Yeah.
comfy.
Can now.
I can hear you now.
Have you been on mute?
No. Maybe.
The Castle Lanterns, the Darkblades, the Hawk Winters.
They're basically, it sounds like they're pulling kind of like names out of the hat a little bit.
Yeah, so they don't actually know where they want to do a run.
It doesn't take an insight check to know that they're probably all mouth, no trousers. And now you've brought along a set of trousers for them to wear. They're realising that crotchless panties are more their style. I haven't got a fucking.
Well, all I bring is assless chaps.
Chaps. Continuing your Western theme.
Yeah.
So they're very much in your hands. So kind of where do you want to hit and who do you want to hit?
What can you tell me about the Castle Lanterns? Well, I'm going to weigh up the options here.
So what do you know about the Castellantas? Fabulously wealthy, made a lot of the money in mercenaries, rising stars.
Sounds like a children's charity.
The Darkblades. What's the word on the street about the Darkblades? The Darkblades, nobody fucks with Danilo Darkblade. Also, Diego is a hero in the Championship short. Fabulously wealthy, Darkblades.
Allegedly.
Made their money embezzling Tethia. Nobody realized that.
Maybe I need to do some of that.
Oh my god, I think I want to rob Diego's. I think I want to rob the Darkblades.
You do not want to know as like a villain in our campaign, do
Both
you?
campaigns. Yes, it'd be brilliant.
Okay. So the
Yeah, I
Hawk
think that's what
Winters.
we're going to do. I think we're going to do the Darkblades in.
Okay. So the Hawk Winters are money is in livery and horse stabling and provision of horses. Some mercenaries. Who else? And the Eltorchuls, who have an academy. The rumours is flat,
Aldred
flat on its
robbing
arse.
himself.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of reinforced doors now though when the downtime days roll in.
Oh, I could take knock.
Oh yeah, that completely undoes my arcane lock.
Oh, it'd be great to get one over on the Darkblades. That'd be.
I don't think you should have name dropped, pal. You should have just pushed it in the story direction.
Yeah.
We'll go with the Darkblades.
Okay. They're a little bit nervous about this, but they reckon you must know what you're doing. Reckon that you know what you're doing. Okay. So what's the plan, boss? What's the plan?
We need two professionals. You see.
Okay.
Someone that can get into.
Who's
Got
it?
it.
He did it.
Bunch of chaps.
You're king of the chaps.
I mean, for a guy that's not a fan of organizations, you're making a pretty shoddy one at the moment, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's actually quite hot in
Well, you
this.
said previously about the two professionals, the Vault Breaker,
Yep.
and oh god, I can't remember what the other one was.
Neither can I, but it would have been some kind of roguish thing.
Yeah, they were both like rogues, but like specialists for
Yeah,
breaking into
so
places.
you've got these contacts that you could kind of call upon.
Yeah. So 2 specialists, myself. I've got a another rogue. So 3 rogues and a bardy rogue.
You got Fenn.
Yeah, that's the one of these 3 rogues.
Hey, I haven't agreed to rob Danilo Darkblade.
You agreed to.
My intelligence is too high to do that.
He does
I'm
carry.
not telling you which house it is.
Because that's not going to be useful to know in the
I'll
plan.
be like,
With
I
the
know
big
this place.
crest on the front of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, as soon as you rock up, it's like, is that the Darkblade
Hold on a
sigil?
minute.
Yeah.
Why has he got a moat with sharks in? That's a dark moat.
Well, the were-shark's got to have somewhere to swim.
All those candles are poisonous.
Okay, so I'm quite happy to kind of park the plan of the heist for next session because I think that'd be quite a fun little thing. But you might want to think about which enemy you want to choose.
We need to know where the safe is. And we need.
There's no safe place for you in the Darkblade estate.
This has turned into a game of Red Dead. It's just, we need more money. All the time.
Yeah, does anyone know where that glitch is, where you can just keep getting gold out of the same box?
I think they
Yeah.
patched it.
I meant in this game.
No, I patched that a while ago.
It's called the pit fighting.
Pit fighting.
Just endless gold.
Yeah, it has been patched, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say then you spend a couple of weeks building the kind of team. Everybody is saying not Darkblade. I'm out if it's Darkblades. I know it's all elsewhere, but you know the guy's bad news. It's fucking scary. My uncle Bill, Cockless Bill, he tried to do the Darkblades over. It was called 10-inch Bill before he met Danilo. My missus is on here for mine. If I don't have that, she's gone.
So everyone's reaction's like, no, mate,
Not a
not
chance. Not a chance.
no, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone's got sense.
Yeah. I'm thinking the castle lanterns would be quite fun.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we go into Xanathar?
Ooh, no.
Got to be worth a pretty penny, hasn't he?
I thought Xanathar was like an urban legend to normal people.
These aren't normal people. These are the kind of underbelly of Waterdeep.
Okay.
You want to go double-crossing some gangster beholder?
Oh, you don't know it's a beholder.
That ain't what I signed up for. I signed up.
You don't know it's a beholder.
Have they not got the book?
Yeah.
Some gangster crime lord. You asked me to find our way into a noble's house, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. What about the Gralhunds?
The who?
They're bad news. The Gralhunds. I hear that they've come into some recent finger scratches. What are you taking this to make some?
Doesn't that sound
Good
pretty
guy.
well?
Thought you were playing with your eyelashes.
Go into some comedy
got
eyelashes.
Eyelashes.
They've got some great eyelash extensions.
Valuable.
They look fantastic.
I'm not even checking to see how many viewers we got. I just don't think it's worth it for this trash.
2.
Oh, okay. I think one of those might be for you.
One of them might be me from just
Oh,
opening
good,
it.
go then.
And the other one's Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Gralhunds, I heard that they've come into some cash.
Gralhunds.
Gralhunds.
Gralhunds. What do you know about the Gralhunds, son?
Well, I can get a map of their place.
Insight check. If I may.
Yep.
As you said, these guys were fairly inept.
Yeah. That's what. It's yeah. So they're being genuine. You suspect that they may be getting it fed from somewhere. They don't strike you as the people who have their own ideas very much.
No. I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. So they kind of hand across a sheet of parchment, which is the grounds and the interior layout of the Gralhund villa. And a few details on the inhabitants of the villa.
They sound like people who keep dogs, just by their name.
Gralhunds. It sits in the North Ward, in the upper class residential neighbourhood. So you'll know that there'll be pedestrians, coaches around and about pretty much all hours, though the traffic will be heavier during the day. And you recall that the walls there are all about 12 foot high. Fairly large. Villa.
Spent quite a few days. Are there like people that go in on a like a road, almost like a rota, like they always go in repeatedly each, like the same time every single day?
What do you mean? Sorry. So what are you trying to do?
Like a shift of staff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's staff that kind of go in and come out. So there are dailies, I guess, who come in to supplement the residential staff.
We need one of them. On the other side.
Make a investigation check.
An observation check.
You're spending a few days there, yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of like loitering. Okay.
Perception.
Investigation.
Oh, investigation.
Just to hear.
Oh.
Yeah, so you don't particularly learn much. There are servants that are kind of like going in and out. They have bodyguards, which again isn't particularly unusual or anything along those lines. Okay, but maybe a few more days. So how many days do you want to put into doing this?
Let's say 15 for getting everything together, 5 for scouting out, so half a 10-day.
Yeah, so that's what you kind of find.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you there, and that's kind of you've investigated the Gralhunds for those 2 weeks. Okay, Zerelda, you've got a couple of weeks worth of downtime actions. What is it that you want to do?
So I think there's a couple of things. First of all, I am proficient with wood carving tools.
Okay.
So rather than keep staying at this inn, I'd like to make a bed out of wood for the manor.
Oh, for the manor. I thought you were just going to put it on the street.
So it's going to cost me the materials, but how many days would that take to make?
How good a bed do you want it to be? How many posters?
Because that may influence what I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I can imagine Fenn being like, "Oh, you made me a bed."
Okay, we just got disconnected from the stream. It'll reconnect itself fairly soon, I'm sure.
Fenn would just sit there and watch you make it for days on end and just turn up the next day when he robbed from somewhere else. Just like, This was easier.
And nicer too.
I would say, but someone else has been sleeping in that, but that won't really bother Fenn.
Did you ever go back to that tavern that was connected to the sewer lines we like stumbled into?
Probably for drinks, yes, but he hasn't robbed the place. I want to see how much generic
I think
items.
it'll probably
actually
take
cost.
like 3 or 4 days to make a reasonable quality bed.
Okay, perfect. I'll probably do that towards the end of my downtime then.
Yep.
So earlier
also,
on,
in Trollskull Alley, there is the Bent Nail, which is a carpenter's.
B&Q.
Yeah, basically. It's like a carpenter and woodcarver.
okay.
And you kind of head in there to see kind of what kind of equipment he has and such like. And it's run by Tally Fellbranch, who is also a half-elf. He's a male half-elf. Why, howdy, he says. I see that you're from Silverymoon.
Hey there, hun. I am indeed.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. He's a reasonably, friendly. I'll just deal with these customers, and then we can catch up.
Oh, I would like that.
Wow, that's mighty fine of you. Well, I say, Scarlet, this here bed is only had one previous careful lady owner. She took good care of it. Yeah, she died in it, but let's not that put you off. You can tell by the curvature and the overture and the overture that it's been mighty fine bed. And she kind of like deals with this customer and says, "Well, could I have the pleasure of your name, Missy?"
Well, my name is Zerelda. What's yours?
Well, I'm Talisolvada, Fellbranch, but you can call me Tally.
Well, nice to meet you, Tally. Fine weather we're having.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I do love this time of year. It reminds me of time back in the jungles of Chilth.
I must say, though, I have never seen so many people in this town. Is it always like this?
Oh, yeah. Just as the roads defrost and the snow goes away, we get loads of fellas and fella misses in. The town really becomes booming. It's alive. I like it when it's alive like this. Are you been here long?
Just since the winter, so it's never been that busy here for me. I must say, I think it's going to take some getting used to.
Well, I can say that it does. You kind of, you'll be taking a lot longer to move from anywhere to anywhere. You plan that in. I've seen you in the manor on the corner. Are you part of the group?
Well, I think I've been somewhat acquired. I was given a share in their little... I mean, you can't really call it much at the minute.
Well, no, but it's got a lot of potential.
Well, it's funny you say that. That's why I'm here.
Oh, well. How can I be of assistance for a while?
Well, I have a share, but nowhere to lay my head at the minute. They have two of the most beat-down couches, and that is about it. So, I'm looking to make a bed. I have
You're
some
making
skill.
a bed?
Well, how else does one get a bed?
You got skills in that area, Missy?
I've dabbled in the past. I've had a bit of a go.
Show me those.
Nothing quite...
Show me those hands. Wow, you are. I had you down. As a I don't know, a frilly wearer, not a hard worker. Those calluses are sword calluses.
Looks can be deceiving, and then I just sort of flex my arms a little bit.
Wow, you sure got the musculature there. I tell you what, I got some lumber at back that's just aching to be turned into something that you could put your head and the rest of your body on.
Well, I would be mighty grateful if I could take that off your hands. How much is that going to set me back? And have you got a bit of room where I could maybe turn it into something?
Oh yeah, use the workshop, missy. Look, I tell you what, if this is going to go and help make the manor a little bit better, then it's on the house. It'll be in the house and it's on the house. I tell you, it cuts myself up sometimes.
Oh, well, that's mighty kind of you. Let me, just as a gesture of goodwill, let me do a few days of working around here for you as well.
Well, that'd be fantastic. If there's any signature pieces you want to do, put them up sale, we'll go 50-50.
Well, I like the sound of that. That's mighty kind.
You're welcome.
I like you.
I gotta say though, if you're gonna be doing up the manor, just make sure you get the guilds. They can be really, really picky about that. I mean, I can help you a little bit, but I don't know all the guilds, and it's a bit complicated for a simple half elf like me. But I gotta say, it's you gotta be in there, otherwise they'll be kind of coming around causing problems.
Well, I think that's a little complicated for me as well. I might just let them mighty fine boys deal with all that.
Well, that sounds like a good plan, Missy. That sounds like a good plan. Anyway, let me show you that oak that I got out back. It's from out in the high forest, you know. And he kind of like takes you through.
Oh yeah.
And shows you.
I would love to see your mighty fine oak.
Well, I've been weathering it all. I've been weathering it all season, so I think it's about ready to be turned into something strong. And
well,
and
let's see what we can get out of that.
Well, I think all the sap's dripped its way out already, and it's very innocently shows you kind of like the lumber out back.
Zerelda's used to handling wood. What can we say?
This is a two-hander for definite. Yeah. But no, so he lets you kind of like use some of the wood and such like you work away there. He's very personable, very kind of helpful, very generous, really keen to get the Troll School Manor kind of back on. Well, it was ran by another half elf called Liv. Then it went into repute. I kind of heard before him. It was. Well, it's passed through a few hands. This has, I gotta say, and Volo Thamgedarm, he was rumored to be buying it or did buy it. I don't know, but me and a few of the folk from the alley, we're really keen. It's a bit of an eyesore, and it doesn't really help get footfall into the alley because it sits right at that entrance there. So Missy.
Oh, it's nice.
And see if you can do that, then anything that'll help. And if there's any woodworking work that you need doing, then come along. And I'm certain that Embrick and Avi they'll be up for helping out with their skills and talents too. So long as it's all above board with the guilds, Missy.
Well, I'm sure we can get that sorted. I'll talk to the boys about that. But I'm sure we would all appreciate your help, and I will do what I can to help you.
Thank you. That's the kind of that's what makes the world go round, I guess. If it's proven that Faerun is like a globe anyway and spins on its axis, I don't think the cosmology has been particularly sorted yet, whether it's a heliocentric universe or not.
Now, sweetie, you're losing me here. I must say, I do not know what you are on about, but it sounds very interesting, but not for me.
Oh, fair enough there, Missy, fair enough. Okay, so you kind of pass the days in conversation. He's pseudo-intellectual. He wants to engage you on the heliocentric universe or not, but it's all above board. It's not trying to kind of like jump in your pants or anything of that ilk.
Well, more for him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 4 days to make the bed. I'll probably do another 4 days helping out there.
No, he's really appreciative of that. And he goes 50-50 on it, and you roll me a d10.
Whoa!
Nice.
Zerelda's boring.
You get 10 gold profit.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to do, especially with the town being busy, I imagine there's a bit of an audience for this kind of thing at the moment, is go somewhere to show off my physical prowess, maybe in combat of some kind. I heard whispers of a fighting pit, but I'm happy to do something else.
Could you do something more legit at the Field of Triumph?
So it depends what you're trying to do. What are you trying to do? So if you're trying to get hired as a mercenary, there is a place that you go to for that.
Well, what I was thinking first is doing something that would have an audience that would show off my combat skills to then get some hire for work, maybe at a later date once I've got a bit of reputation built up.
So if you're trying to build a reputation, I guess the most sensible place to go to would be the Temple of Tempest.
Okay.
Which is in Seaward, I think. But roll me a D100 anyway.
Darian's been there. Those people seem nice.
They were nice to Darian. He was a champion of Chul at the time, I seem to recall.
That's also true. These things are true.
So
96.
Nice.
Is that on a D100?
Yeah.
Cheeky.
Yeah.
I'm not going to roll anywhere near that for my business roll now.
17.
Yeah, that's what happened last time. Wasn't it?
Is it
Something like
possible
that,
to get 00?
It is. No,
That's
I think
100.
You get one, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The lowest you get is
Okay, so you kind of head across to the Field of Triumph. No, not the Field of Triumph. The Tempest Temple to Tempest.
Tempest.
They're kind of, sort of close, aren't they? Not really, but kind of.
Well, the Field of Triumph is like a big arena,
Yeah.
a pseudo public arena. Available for hire for weddings if you're the Darkblades. And this the Temple of Tempest is a massive affair, really big, kind of ornate temple. 60. It's I think the largest temple in Waterdeep actually. Now I think about it. Yep, the House of Heroes, which is located in Seaward. So let me just go here, and that doesn't help anybody. That will do that. And so that is northeast. Right. Sorry, guys. I'm just messing about with Fantasy Grounds. Maps. Waterdeep.
You could use the chat on the actual Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah. No, it's northwest. This is why I shouldn't be allowed out.
A map.
Yep. Okay, so we are looking for
That's the Dark Blade Villa.
Yeah, that's what we
Yes.
centered on.
as ever.
Let's rob it.
I mean, yeah, I know it would be a bad idea, but how cool would it be to do one over on Dolo?
I mean, he would do like 5 over back on you, so I don't think it
Yeah,
would
he
be.
totally would.
What's the Machiavellian quote about? Like, if you're gonna do something to somebody, do it to like the maximum degree, so that they don't have the opportunity to come back and get you.
Yeah, good luck. So
Kill it.
that's all I'm saying. So if you look at the map and if you see the West Gate,
Yep.
Yeah.
by the mud flats, and you go straight down that, you're going down West Wall Street, and then you kind of hang into where Jelzar Stride is, and there's the top of that kind of like coffin-shaped building.
Yes.
So that is the Field of Triumph, and it's a massive arena, and the entrance that you can see just at the bottom near Gulzindar Street is a lion's mouth, kind of open, and that's where you walk through. It's like a gladiatorial arena, or kind of the size of a football stadium essentially. The big single building directly north of that, so where it says Jelzar Stride and the IDE of Stride, there's a single building there. That is the Temple of Tempus. Okay, so you kind of go down Dobbs Loss, and you're milling now with a large crowd. There's a substantial number of mercenaries around here. You're fighting against what looks to be primarily a Tormite congregation coming out. They're led by a half-orc who is getting quite a lot of reverential kind of attention. And this is you quickly learn one of the kind of Tormite.
Has she sold her story to the tabloids?
Not yet. It's only a matter of time. Is where they're kind of going over to the poorer area to spread their lay on hands and their heal diseases and such like. I can't remember what they called it. What was it again, Martin?
I called it the People's March.
Yeah, the People's March. And there's quite a lot of commoners kind of gathered around behind this, kind of going down as well. There's a lot of hangers-on. There's people selling foodstuffs and kind of, burgers and chips and such like to the crowd as well. So it's almost developed its own little thing. And you hear undrill, 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 undrill as she walks, kind of just soaking it in. And you kind of get past that, and it's really hard for you to push and move your way in. And then you get to the Temple of Tempus, which is an awe-inspiring sight. It towers up into the sky. You kind of go through this open colonnade into a covered drill field where there are very many warriors and fighters who are going through various drills. There's some mercenary companies that are doing it in there, and there are individual like pick-up fights. Like if you're hanging around a basketball court and you're like kind of 1-on-1, 2-on-2 and stuff like that. So you kind of get very quickly picked up into that crowd. Are you wearing your Knights of Silver stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, so
it's all I have at the moment.
Yeah, there are other Knights of Silver or ex-Knights of Silver there as well. You recognise faces and they kind of wave and come over, have a bit of a polite chit-chat. And then you kind of get picked up into one of these areas. And it's almost like public training, keeping your kind of eye in and keeping your skills sharp. So make me a performance roll with advantage.
With advantage, so I do it twice. Oof.
Good thing as well.
Oh,
Really good thing as well.
I'll use the second one.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, that's pretty cool then. Okay. So you're kind of doing really, really well. Beginners look perhaps, but kind of in the drills that you're doing, your side is consistently winning. And you're getting back into the instinct of command. You were an officer in the night, so do you know the scene in Gladiator where the general is kind of like, gets the troops together, right? Oh, you fought on the Eastern Front, right? Okay, this is how we're going to do, and you're able to call out the commands and this kind of thing. You're getting really into it like that, and your troop are kind of like vanquishing the other troop as well. As you're kind of like drying off some of the sweat that's kind of gathered around you, a figure peels off from the shade of the colonnade because it's starting to get pretty warm as well, and comes over. Good skills, he says.
Well, thank you.
Oh, but where are my manners? Let me introduce myself. I am Willie Fort Crowell, and I've been charged by one of the noble families to find a new captain of their security, captain of their guard.
You have my attention.
I'm very impressed by what I've seen. You organised this troop who you clearly didn't know at the start and have done a grand job. So I wondered if you'd be interested in employment.
I would indeed. What would the terms of this opportunity be?
So this guy's a reasonably old tiefling. He's dressed in fairly formal wear, reasonably quality wear. So if you think of kind of like a winged collar, and kind of like silver.
I mean, that is quite a freeze, isn't it?
Can anyone screen cap?
So am I
Which
frozen? Or
screen?
is it Joe that's frozen? Yeah, it's Joe that's frozen. Yeah.
No,
no,
it was
No,
you.
it's me.
It was you.
Okay,
Oh.
that's interesting. Because for me, Joe is frozen. So when you watch the video back, you'll see that I'm moving around and Joe looks.
No, you froze on quite a good.
You froze.
You were like this.
Well, you won't get
Shocked
that.
and disgusted.
You won't get that in the video. However, you'll get Joe looking slightly satanic. It's I'll find it after the end of the session and take a screen cap and send it around because it does look a little bit freaky. And it's got so it's a tiefling. It's got kind of very subtle horns, soot grey skin, slightly red tint around his eyes. His eyes are actually a normal colour, and he's got a white shirt, winged collar, kind of silver buttons down, a little waistcoat, trousers, and shoes. Not much of a very vestigial tail at the back. And he says, "So my employers are interested. I'd like to give you a tour."
I'd come on that tour, and you can tell me a little bit more about this opportunity. What are the? Did you say it was a family?
Yes, one of the noble houses.
And you can tell me a bit more about this family and what their business is.
Well, the business is their own, but they're looking for an individual who is capable and able to lead their guard.
Okay, I'll come on this tour.
But if you, how about we meet here tomorrow morning? You can clean yourself up, make yourself a little bit presentable. He hands you 5 gold and says, drop the Knights of the Silver. We want to look neutral for them.
Okay, I can do that. I take the money.
Okay, so the next morning you kind of you head back there. He greets you. It's much more cool early morning. I guess you have spent the money on some alternative cladding underneath your armor.
Yes.
Some of the money, not as much of the money as he would have preferred you to spend. And you're
I've
in.
done my hair nice as well.
Yeah. Okay. Your hair nice. How big is your hair? I call it a sideways Marge. And you head up into Seaward. Ode, you're slightly surprised as Zerelda is shown into the Gralhund manor.
Excellent.
My plan comes together.
and kind of shown around. So Zerelda, you're shown around a very sumptuous manor. It sits in its own grounds. It's a kind of villa style. Some stables set off, and then it's upon, I think, a lower floor and upper floor. Very spacious, very well appointed. The guards and servants that you see look to be kind of capable. On the journey there, you're briefed that the existing captain of the guard is still in post, and they're looking for a seamless transition. So it needs to be a little bit quiet at the moment, a little bit kind of low key in terms of that, but they're looking to transition away from that individual soon enough. Okay, and then yeah, you're kind of showing around and whatnot. It looks like a kind of noble villa. Okay, I want to do this now, and I'm going to do this. Okay, that's good to know. I don't know what I just did then afterwards, but anyway, ignore that. Okay, cool. And that's how you spend your 2 weeks. They say that they will get in contact with you. there anything else that you want to do?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, cool. Aldred, how do you want to spend the 2 weeks?
To do that obligatory keep the place running roll.
Yeah, running a business.
Here we go. So again,
how many days are you putting into that?
I want to do the minimum because I want to do a few more things this time. So the minimum, and can I leverage the aid of? I'm not sure about Gilbert, but my mother at least.
Yeah, Gilbert's pretty pointless. He's
Sockless.
yeah, he's drunk most of the time or playing Mahjong.
Yeah. So whatever bonuses my mother grants me, and I think it's a flat roll otherwise, isn't it?
Yeah, so
That
pretty
ain't
good.
bad. That is not bad.
okay, so this is running a business. Okay. I think we said that your mum gave you half of what you did. I don't know. Let's do that. So you get. So how much are you putting
in? The bare minimum time wise. Is it like a 1 work week I've got to spend?
Yeah.
Is like the bare minimum what we usually go for?
Oh yes, so it's 1 week. Yeah. So that's 10. So you get 7. So you may run me to day 8.
Nice. That's the first good roll I think we've had.
How much did you earn?
So you're rolling 2d8.
Oh, sorry. That bit cut out a little bit.
Okay, anyways.
2d8. 2, please. There we go. Respectable as well.
So you earn 60 gold profit.
Whoa. Yeah, but it can go equally the exact other way.
Yep. So clearly the student that you favoured with individual study time has decided that it was well worth it, and his daddy-o has decided to stump up as well. The downside is that he calls you oldie. And
He?
Yeah, he. And
Yeah.
you clearly missed the pronoun the first time I said it.
Didn't listen, did you?
You had your chance to correct and didn't.
Yeah, it's canon now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he likes to kind of just stroke your cheek a little bit like this in the corridor.
No, that's not a thing.
That is an interesting laugh, Ben, I have to say.
So that's done. And I still have 1 week left, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. How many things can I juggle? Because I want to...
I don't know. Can we have a demonstration? Let's go.
Can I just throw
2
money
balls
somewhere?
and a stick at least. What? Sorry.
Can I just throw money somewhere to try and up recruitment, rather than spend time doing that?
So
throw money at some
what is it
people
that you
do
want to
that?
do? What is it you want to do?
Can I throw some money at
Me.
whoever would be the right person to do so, to try and improve recruitment in the academy?
All right. So you kind of go and try and get better instructors, more feminine instructors, etc., etc.
Advertise, essentially.
Yeah, kind of more advertisement, and I guess just
For what? For when you say recruitment, what kind of roles are you trying to fill? Have you got a job description?
I didn't say it. I didn't. Yeah, recruitment of pupils or students.
Oh,
rather
okay.
than- sorry. Yeah, I can see where the confusion came in.
So the best thing to do then, so you've got a couple of options, I think. You could try to leverage your newfound influence with the Blackstaff to see if you could help supplement tuition there. And that wouldn't necessarily be recruitment into the academy, but it would be taking some of their students and giving them some extracurricular tuition or remedial tuition or what have you. Or
You
you
know how extracurricular tuition works.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or you could go to the guild and offer similar kind of helping out apprentices and such like.
I think I'll go with the Blackstaff thing then. Even if it's just like a day or two, that's still quite big to be.
Just to say that the Blackstaff sponsors your academy.
Yeah. They give the Blackstaff seal of approval. Black wizard hat stamp.
Unfortunately, the seal dies because you fed it to the weir sharks in the Darkblade Manor. And it's just not very happy at all. Right, so let's have a little look. See here.
And as thanks for that, I'll look into the Growlhunds. Can I send a letter?
Growlhunds,
for...
not Growlhands.
Oh, I said. Can I
say
send
Gralhund or Gralnun?
Growlhund.
Huns?
Gurala Hutnada.
I pictured like rabid dogs in habits.
Yeah. Can I send a letter asking for a private? Would it be meeting or council? Just between nobles.
Yeah. You could send your kind of like steward over and leave like a calling card kind of thing. Are you inviting them to yours?
I guess either or works, but it would preferably be at theirs. I'll leave it vague. I'll leave it vague enough so that they can reply with what they infer from it.
Technology
and just I wish to talk in private.
Apparently,
Another advert?
So someone's TED talk.
Yeah. It sounded like it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so you leave a calling
pop-ups.
card for Lord and Lady Gralhund. And ordinarily you would be inviting them to yours.
Right. So if that's assumed, then that's assumed, and whatever happens, happens. So I do that. Is there any word back from my request to study that tear in the weave?
Yes, your request is denied.
Oh, bastards. Fine. So that's not a thing I'm doing. Oh, and I actually will spend the rest of the downtime I have spare. Wrong book. Because what's his name? My acquaintance / friend. That's it. Maloon War Dragon. So he's part of the Grey Hands as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's trying to sort out this whole like gang on gang violence. I'll meet up with him, and can I do some patrols with him and try and figure out more about the gangs? And
He's remarkably inconsistent at the moment. There's a bit of concern about him. He's kind of like gone off grid. The view is that he's spending quite a lot of time down at the Yawning Portal, not really doing what his commitments are.
Okay. Well, I'll at least spend one day to go see him, and then the rest, I guess, I'll lend my services to the dock wards where it's all going down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll spend some time lending my services to the dock ward with other Grey Hand people.
Okay. So yeah, the day that you spend drinking with Maloon War Dragon, he very much talks about his past endeavours and what he achieved and done. It's all Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if you're familiar with that song. You should be. Everybody should be. Homework is to listen to Bruce's entire discography, which incidentally I did last week whilst writing a draft proposal for some stuff.
Can I get 10,000 platinum if I do?
Can we win the Dragon Heist?
Yeah, is this one of those games where you like watch adverts to like
How do we get the booster?
No. Who's into it? Okay. And the Gralhunds accept Yella Gralhund and her husband, whose name is right in front of me, Orond Gralhund. They accept.
Okay. Oh, and I forgot to say, I want to spend one day going down to visit the guys at Trolls, but we'll do that.
Yeah, I'll do that possibly next session given time. Hold on. No, it's this which is what I'm after. Honestly, me and this interface do not get along.
Well, we could open with the Gralhund meeting because that'll be more.
Yeah, we'll do that.
That'll be more linked to what's going to happen in that session, anyway, won't it?
So that is what they look like. So for the purpose of the video, I've put that up under Fighting Crowns.
He's proper punching then, isn't he?
Yep.
Translation, I think what the little beard was saying is he's perhaps less attractive than she is.
It's a dwarven term.
Yeah, it's proper punching, isn't it? Yeah, I like it. Okay. So that's kind of like your downtime. So, Fenn, you're in the bin. How do you want to spend the next couple of weeks?
Well, I'll probably spend the first.
Do I not learn anything from the dock ward?
There's a gang warfare on the way.
So
not particularly much.
He spends at least a day convincing Ode not to go anywhere near the Darkblade place. Then, for like the first week, he kind of just disappears. Like no one sees him around the Trollskull Manor or anywhere.
Okay.
So he goes under his secret identity.
Yep.
I've got in his background for a week,
yeah.
and he's going to target a prosperous merchant.
Okay. Yeah, well,
So
there's one
prime
prosperous
downtime.
merchant that's just kind of like forged a new connection with the Blackstaff.
Well, there's one particular one who was going to go after,
Mhm.
one connected to a merchant prince. Not Adran, actually.
That would be so funny.
But the Xanthi, the merchant prince from Chulta, one of the Chultan ones.
Yeah, okay.
So he's targeting, and he's just going to try and rob them.
Okay.
So he has to spend a week kind of scouting it out. I think it'd probably be more in Dockward, so he'll probably occasionally see Aldred going by a few.
If you're doing this the first week, then it's the wrong week. That's like a gather information. Did you say?
Well, Xanathar's crime just in Xanathar.
Yeah, streetwise used to be a skill, but it's not.
I like the fact it's just crime.
Yeah, it's just
Downtime, crime.
Yeah, I have to roll a stealth, a deck, a thieves tools, and a perception.
Okay, let's do that then.
What happens to do you reroll a character if you end up in jail for an indefinite amount of time?
No, I'd end up in jail for.
No, he just gets Ode to break him out.
Yeah, I can either pay my way out of it or spend. It'd be up to 4 weeks in prison, depending on how I roll. If I roll terribly, it'd be 4 weeks in prison.
Oh my.
Page 130 at the Xanathar.
Yeah, got it. Crime. So sometimes it's supposed to be bad. So you spend a week and at least 25 gold gathering information on potential targets before committing the intended crime. Okay, cool. Yeah. So DC. So you make a
15 would be a prosperous merchant. DC 15.
Yep. Okay. Robbery of a prosperous merchant. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a stealth check. Dexterity stealth check. Yep. Okay.
Use your inspiration.
I don't have any. Yeah.
Okay, so you make that. So you kind of you found out that the prosperous merchant is going to be getting an import of a set of let's think Chultan gems. and that they're going to be carried through the dock ward to the safe area in the southern ward on this particular evening by 3 or 4 of the guys' men, and they're doing it at night because they want to avoid attentions, because perhaps it's a little bit illicit themselves. Okay, so that's your stealth roll. You're kind of like tracking them through the duck ward. You're kind of like on the rooftops, and you're up and around and down and about. Okay.
So I think it's a thieves tool roll, which would be my proficiency roll.
So you follow them through to their what looks to be a fairly small building in Southern Ward, and they kind of head in there, lock it all up, and then kind of head off. It's next to a barber shop just out back. So you have to make me a
proficiency roll. So that'd just be a +2.
No, it's your dex and your
All right, yeah.
proficiency.
5 then.
Yeah,
Oh.
so you pick the lock on the barber shop backyard, and you're in there. So what's the next one?
A choice, and I'm going to go perception. I think.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of get in there. You get down to the chest. You pick the lock on that, and you've opened it up, and you've got this.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So you hear, and yeah, the guard dog kind of racing over, but you manage to kind of like get out. You belt him, with your foot. Leave your calling card behind. Yep. Okay, and you're over the fence, and you kind of you're away. So you make 100 gold pieces.
Yes.
Oh.
So the next week, I showed up back at the Troll Skull Manor and was like, "Where have you been?" And I'm wearing a lot nicer clothes.
Why don't you just do crime again? Week 2.
I don't want to push my luck. I rolled well there. So, like, some of this week, then I'll assist Ode in his scouting out of the Gralhunds.
Yeah. Okay. So make me an investigation check.
Investigation.
Oh,
That's
okay.
nice.
So you recognise some of the Gralhund guards from some of your previous escapades. Those escapades lead you to believe that the Gralhunds are some of the guards are allied to the Zentarim.
Shit.
And therefore it's quite possible that the Gralhunds are at least allied with the Zents.
Yeah.
And the moves in and out, and you recognise some of the Zentarim kind of hand signals and a little bit of thieves' cant that they're kind of employing crudely as kind of watchwords and such like.
I'll relay all this to Ode then for the week.
Yeah, so when they say apples and stairs, Ode, apples and pears, they really mean stairs. And when they say butcher's hook, they mean luck. And when they say tits out for the lads, they mean get your tits out for the lads. Okay.
Oh shit! This is a big character. This is a character pondery actually. Diego dislikes the Harpers.
Well,
He
that's
was
fortunate
enslaved
because you're
by
playing
the
Ode.
Yeah, you're playing Ode, not Diego.
Did I say Diego? Oh, well.
There you go.
Ode doesn't like the Harpers at all because he was left to be enslaved by the Zentarum.
Well, pick your evil or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just a bit conscious that Iggy didn't particularly get very much screen time. So, is there anything more that you want to kind of do with Ignatius?
I want to start having a look around Trollskull.
Yeah. Okay. What, the alley?
Our actual manor. While we're in there,
Okay.
I would like
Search for hidden doors.
well, first of all, I've just sort of decided to prepare the good old detect good and evil.
Mm.
You can just have faith.
Because we heard about ghosts being in Trollskull.
Ghosty goose.
You have
Troll
a
ghost.
friendly ghost.
I could just walk through it and I'll find all hidden objects.
Troll ghost.
Well, that's great. Next time you're not drunk there or often. I wonder what your calling card is.
After that first day, Fenn hasn't drunk at all. When he's on the job, he's on the job.
I realise that, like, with it being, I'm really sorry, guys. With it being 20 past, I'm really gonna have to go. So you have to finish off without me. I'm really sorry.
Yeah. No,
Alright.
worries. Given that I said that I had hard cut off 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
that's understandable.
Well, I don't mind
I'll see
picking
you
it up
later,
later.
guys.
Cheers, Ben. Thank you.
See you later. Oh, Paul's now posted.
Poster boy!
Poster boy. Yeah,
Yeah,
in
Josh
middle.
is poster boy.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you said Paulo. You're in the middle
not
of
on
it.
your screen, but the screen
Josh,
that actually
you're in the
gets
middle of my
recorded.
screen.
Why am I in the middle?
So you're in the middle of
annoying.
mine as well. Paul's not.
Yeah.
Paul's always in the middle of mine.
You say that as if it's a bad thing.
I don't like... No, it's a good thing that Paul's in the middle. DM makes sense.
So yeah, so the whole place is run down. So this is kind of like the ground floor. So imagine those tables aren't really there, and it's just detritus and such. Like the hearth is present, but it needs work doing. The whole kind of like thing essentially needs work doing.
I want to see if I can detect any good or evil wandering about.
Oh, that's interesting. So what does detect good and evil? Does it?
For the duration,
Yeah.
you know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within
There's
30
an
feet
undead.
of you.
Yeah, there's an undead present.
As there is an undead.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, ghost.
Do I know which direction?
Around and about. It kind of like lurking around you. It moves kind of like tentatively with you as if it's stalking you in the night.
Oh my.
Then I'll, being as my nature, I will turn undead.
Okay, make the roll.
What is it?
Oh no, it's a save, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, he gets to save.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. Where's it gone?
Against what DC?
13, I think I still am.
Okay.
If your whiz went up, it'll be 14.
No, it didn't jump a level.
It backs away from you, but it doesn't kind of flee as if you manage to turn it. So I've just sharing with you guys the kind of like layout of the 4 floors.
4 floors. Wow.
Yeah, we need to have a proper investigation of this next session, maybe.
Okay, I'm happy with the fact that there's some undead there. I'll see what I can.
There's a bathroom.
Well, I'm not happy about it. It's not done out to me. It's not like them other ones that came and fucked me up the other day.
Yeah.
I'm making. I look as I sense it. I look around on the ground to make sure there's no yellow on path to stand on.
Yellow brick road again.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. There are kind of like yellow marks and sigils kind of like painted in various places.
Ooh. Do I recognise any of
them? Make me a history check.
I've got 7,000 maps on the screen now.
Yeah, same.
I can't find me still. I can. If you double click your face, you jump to the front, which is handy. Yes, sorry. Do you want it down the thing?
Yeah, please, yeah.
The dice tower.
Oh, that didn't work.
I haven't recorded any Fantasy Grounds this session either, so this is just as. You don't really recognise it. It's some sigil. It's not a dwarven sigil.
I'll remember to Aldred should he ever turn up.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm going to eventually.
Well, it is past my bedtime, frankly, and a little bit of a different session to that. Not quite so no combat. Bit of character building and kind of getting into the feel of Waterdeep. A little bit of individual play. So I appreciate that you guys, when you're outside the limelight, kind of it may have been a little bit less interesting than when you were actually involved in it. But hoping that fleshing out the stories.
No, you get to learn what everyone else is up to.
Yeah, it'll start to get you invested in the characters, that when I threatened them later down the line, it'll feel more real.
I was thinking more on the lines where we can manipulate them into telling us who their alter ego, their secret identity. Well, I can't save you if I don't know who you are.
He's a phantom thief.
It's Bruce Wayne. But there we have it.
I'm Batman.
You've convinced me to get this Xanthar's guide, I must say.
Xanthar's guide is definitely worth getting.
Yeah, it's good.
110%.
It's already ordered.
It's like the next.
It's arriving tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's got Amazon really quick. The guy's coming through that door right now.
Oh, Amazon now.
Have you heard? Yeah, have you heard they're thinking about launching drones to give you stuff like ASAP?
Yeah, it's going to be
You
great.
still won't get it up there in the North Sea.
Yeah, when you live next door to Gatwick Airport, think hard on that.
Yeah.
You get your Xanathars really quickly, but no fucker can go on holiday.
Yeah.
£40 for Xanathars. Holiday misery, priceless. Okay, so that was episode. Do we agree 9?
9.
Episode
9.
So next episode, I think we're going to have a bit of a heist. I think that's what's going to happen. I think there's going to be a heist in the old Gralhund place. So we'll see how that plays out. But we'll open the session, I think, with Aldred and the Gralhunds having tea and bickies.
Actually, can I go to the troll skull before that, and then have the Gralhunds after
that's
that?
cool. And Zerelda.
Can I also just confirm? Right, I wrote down Crowl,
Growl.
but that right.
Growl, and as in a dog.
No. Growl is in Gral.
Oh.
HUND.
And that's who I am potentially working for.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Who we're going to run?
Time we get Zerelda gets to kill Ode.
Yeah.
This is fine.
I've seen how Zerelda rolls.
There can be only one half health.
Yeah. Thunderdome.
It's going to be
2
hilarious.
go in, 1 comes out.
When Aldred's getting ready for the Gralhunds and Milady de Winter rocks up and says, "Hi."
Oh.
Yeah.
This character's not immune to charm. There we have it. Thank you, viewer, watcher, listener, because I'm going to strip this into... Yeah, cheers. I'm going to strip the audio out and we'll put it into the podcast as well as YouTube and on Twitch. I'm a lot less tired than I thought it would be, but that's possibly because I did fuck all. Running a combat would have been a lot harder for me. So anything to say, Ben? Since you're the only one here, I can use your full title.
Wow. No, it's a good game. Thanks, guys.
Good.
So I like learning about people's stuff.
Yeah. Anything to say, Martin?
Josh had the coolest ideas for his downtime.
What, rob people? I rolled 3 17s.
I know, that was quite impressive.
Yeah. Anything to say, Josh promoted to poster boy in Ben's absence?
Thanks for joining our viewers, listeners.
Yeah.
Again, you are.
Yeah.
Zerelda, anything for you to
You
say?
can't use in plural.
Get well soon, Paul.
I'm going to try.
He's turning into a Praxon.
Yeah.
I've just bought Xanthar, so please don't die.
Yeah, we did it. We didn't win at football because he wasn't there, so...
Oh, right, really? Was it bad?
It was a draw.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Last goal winner ended up in a draw. I'm just quite sure how.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't play it. It would have been tricksy. So that was episode 9 of Waterdeep. Our next Waterdeep game is going to be on Tuesday, the 19th of February.
That's fine, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you found this interesting, then I really would recommend hitting up our Titles and Triples game, because it's kind of like this. Less combat, more chat and intrigue and such like. And I would really recommend watching the not yet released, but will be released soon episode. In fact, the last 2 episodes have been pretty good. If you're into kind of like large scale combat in Dungeons and Dragons, the next episode that'll be released, which is episode 9 of Tales and Troubles, is pretty good. And then episode 10 of Tales and Troubles, if you want to see the don't get fucked over, then that's great as well.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Spoiler alert, Milady de Winter comes back.
Winter.
She's literally the worst. Literally the most hated PC, I think.
Someone just marry her and be done with it.
Oh, someone is just about to marry her.
No!
You have to watch it to find out.
And could possibly become
Spoilers.
pregnant and disinherit others. Who knows? Who knows what's in my plans. But anyway, so thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, cheers. Basically.
Bye.